All right. Hello. Welcome to Come Follow 33, your faith journey podcast. I'm here. I'm Ted Thomas.
And I am Peter Grogan. Welcome. It's so great to be here on episode
Number 8.
The
This was our
Snowman.
goal.
The Snowman.
8 was the goal.
Yeah. So here we are. We made it. We reached our goal. How many times can you really reach the goals that you set? I mean, it's an accomplishment.
High five.
Way to go. Yeah.
That's about as much as we're going to get. But
yeah.
we want to blow past that, but it was a goal to say, hey, let's do 8 episodes, see what happens. And I think we have pretty good momentum.
I agree. Yeah, breaking through the glass ceiling.
The one that I set up, right? That one guy told me, you need to get to 8. So we got to 8. So that's great. I don't know who that guy is.
2 guys, couple of microphones,
headsets, couple balding guys.
Telling some one balding guy and one bald guy.
There you go. We're right up there.
Catch up, would you?
What's that? Catch up? All I have to do is get a razor. I'll be right there with you.
True.
I'm not trying to hide the fact.
I don't really know. Well, I sort of know what I would look like if I didn't shave it. It would be pretty laughable. I think.
I'm pretty laughable already. I was in service. Where was I? I was at work, and they have cameras where on our Teams meetings. And for some reason, the Teams meeting was coming back. The back of my head. And I was like, I thought I had more hair than that.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So before I was in the audiovisual business, I worked in the jewelry business for 26 years, and it was a very specific area of the jewelry business. I sold jewelry on TV, and I was an actual host on the TV show in a suit. And at the time I still had hair, and I was looking at a piece of jewelry that was on this turntable, and the lights were coming through the hair on my head. And
that was the moment.
Well, and so when I got home, Valerie had told me, she said, I saw the show. And I said, and? She goes, your hair's like see-through. So I went home and I shaved it off.
Oh, you shaved it off? That was the moment. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
getting close to that moment. I don't know if I don't want to I want to cut it as short as I can. I just don't want to get into the shaving part.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that for a long time. This is kind of our warm up.
Right.
I think that's part of our deal. Right.
Yeah,
like we have to warm up.
Yeah. It's like you walk before you run, know?
Right.
The pace starts to pick up a little bit. So yeah, it's good to chit chat a little bit before we get going.
Do you remember where we left them on cliffhanger? Because I know all of our listeners were they wanted more.
They're on the edge,
and we cut them off right in the middle of it because it did go a little bit long last time. Yeah. So I do want to say we're trying to, if you're listening with us, we're going to try to get us in that 30 to 40 minutes. So maybe that helps with your drive, or sometime we're like, okay, they didn't need to be that long. So we're hoping that maybe that is kind of the sweet spot. I think 33 minutes is a sweet spot.
That is a sweet spot.
So kind of that's what we're going to be shooting for. Okay. And if we go a few minutes over, that's fine. But we want to I think we can get at least 1, maybe 2 topics that we want to talk about within that time frame.
Yeah, I think 33 minutes is good. That's perfect. If somebody's going, like, maybe they're going on a run or something and they're just listening to us. So you asked me where we were. I know we were talking about music, and we were talking about, I think if I remember correctly, we were talking about where I was musically, before I found God.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. We talked a little bit about the dark side of music.
Yeah.
And then now we want to talk about the bright side of music, right? That now I think you're closer to this than I am because you're a big music guy. So I'll be doing a lot of listening.
Okay.
But I do want to kind of hear a little story maybe about your band and then maybe transition.
Yeah.
Because I think it brings credibility, right? That you aren't just some guy who loves music, right? Like I love music, but I'm not a music guy, right? Yeah. There's a difference, I think, and that might relate to some people who are really into music.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been into music my whole life, and a very quick story. I was a young boy. My dad was a tour guide, and I would sing on the bus. I was 6 years old.
Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah, I would sing. My hit song was "Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree." Tony Orlando and Dawn.
Nice.
I was, like I said, I was about 6 years old, and I would sing that song on my dad's tour bus. He drove tours from LA to, I think, Vegas, and I would be on there, singing songs. But I mean, that was from there. And I sang, I did theater, and I wrote music with my buddy Matt. We, we did like that whole 80s keyboard synthesizer thing, and
Mm,
we were just like going to be the next big thing. It's just, it's in your head. You're
it
thinking,
is.
I've made it,
Right.
We did shows at some of the clubs in Hollywood, and 30, 40 people would show up. And I mean, that's massive,
Mhm.
and you're just thinking,
I've
this is
made
the
it, right?
story I'm going to tell
Right.
when my
You're
bio,
saying it right
I know.
now.
Well, exactly. Who would have thought? But when my bio comes out, it's like, oh man, Peter Grogan,
Mm.
started out singing on the tour bus, and then he did this, and then he won this Grammy, and then
Okay.
that was all going through my
Yeah,
head, believe me.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Did you win a Grammy?
no, I
They might
didn't.
wanna
No, but
know.
I watched a lot of Grammys
Okay, you watched a
when I
lot.
was
Okay.
younger.
What was like but you got farther than that. You started a band.
Yeah, I started, I mean, well, that's the band. It
Okay.
was it was the two of us. He played all the music on this synthesizer, and I mean, it was very, specific type of music. But I mean, I had a wide range of musical tastes. But yeah, we did that. We recorded a CD. We played some shows. We tried to get our music out there. We tried getting it on radio stations. It didn't happen. I mean, that's like a whole thing. But but
That
to
kinda
not
led you down a path
but to
also with
not
music.
but to not get off the rails. I wasn't a believer. I was, as poppy as the music was that we were making, it was very dark music. I mean,
Mm.
it really was. It was very depressing, very sad. The themes were all similar, and it was just
Plus
kind
you
of.
said you wrote some.
I wrote all of it. I
Yeah,
wrote the
so would you
lyrics, all
say
the.
that what you wrote kind of was in that vein as well, or
Oh yeah, for
okay.
sure. Yeah, it was very. It was. I mean, it was dark. It was depressing. Um, but I mean, that's where my mind was.
Mhm.
So I think you write what you know. Um, but And I mean, it didn't
Yeah,
take off, but
but you're also writing thinking someone's gonna like this. Even though it's dark, it's
of
like, "Oh,
course,
this has gotta
I
be
think,
this
I
is gonna
yeah,
resonate with somebody."
of course. And I think that, and I'm not going to speak for musicians, but I think a lot of, especially songwriters, they write what they know, they write what they like. And obviously you hope somebody likes it, and you hope somebody wants to listen to it, and you hope somebody pats you on the back and says, "Hey, that's really good."
Right.
And I mean, I think it was pretty good music. I really do. It just
Mhm.
wasn't, it didn't get picked up. Radio stations didn't want to play it. I mean, they don't even give you a chance. It's a business, and you have to play the game, and you have to, and we didn't know how to do it.
Right.
I mean, we were two guys, we were two guys and a microphone. I
In a
mean, yeah,
garage.
we really were. We
Right.
recorded the music in my friend's, like in his house.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we didn't know the music business, and we didn't know how to promote it. We didn't know how to get it out there, and then things happened, and then, I got married and had children, and it was like, okay, but I love music. So sang karaoke, and I just got my musical, desire.
Right, it was met.
It was met. Um, and, as when a couple of years ago, when I became a Christian, and I was kind of drawn in by the music, as I've said over and over. That's again,
Yeah, what do
that's
you
what I.
remember? Maybe it was Every Man, but what do you remember as the music kinda drawing you in?
Well,
Was it at a
actually,
worship service
no,
or on the radio?
so it was Everyman,
Uh-huh.
and that first Everyman that I went to, which is coming up here, it was May of 2024, so coming up on 2 years. I remember going, and there were a couple of songs that Tim played, and one of them was The Evidence, and one was Refiner's Fire,
Mm, it's
and
an older one.
which
Which
to
is a
me
newer
was
one to
not an
you?
older one. So this has been a joke, actually, because my brother-in-law Benny, he's like, "Oh, Refiner's Fire." He goes, "I think Jesus sang that song." And I'm going, "I don't know. This song, I heard this song, and I was like, that's a great song." So what I did was, the next day I went on the Kings Harbor website, and I found Tim, and I sent him an email, and I said, "Hey, I was at Everyman. I really enjoyed the music. Can you tell me what songs those were?" Because I didn't know.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't know either of them. He sent me the music, and I mean, I think I listened to those songs 20 times.
Okay.
Really? And
Uh,
then,
I
you
love
know
that because that's kind of a different story where music, like somebody listening to something 20 times
oh, yeah.
is pretty significant,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That I really want to hear that melody. I want to hear what those words are saying. Something is
It
drawing you.
was more than just, I mean, I was already like kind of set. I mean,
Mhm,
I think in my mindset was I'm ready for something.
mhm.
I don't think that I really knew, but there were hints of me, you know, questioning things. And I mentioned once before that the Christmas just before that Everyman, I had really, really heard the lyrics to Oh Holy Night. And it
Mhm.
was like, wow.
Right.
Because before I was just, I love the song. It's a great Christmas song. But I had heard the lyrics to the song and I was like, wow, this is something. And, you know, Valerie and I were just kind of, I told her that and we were just kind of, you know, emotional in the kitchen, just, you know, and I think at that moment she was like, whoa, something's going on here. And then, you know, no, go ahead. You were going to say
No, I was
something.
going to say, so looking back, somebody's listening and they're like, you know what? I love music, but
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about how to follow God
Hmm.
or what that means. What would you tell somebody that, might use music as a way to start to learn about God?
Yeah.
Right? Because when you look at the lyrics and you start to see certain things and you
Hmm.
hear something, it becomes more. It's more than just the words.
Right. And that's, so the, one of the points that I was going to make was that hearing that music and listening to it, like I said, I think 20 times or so, there was more, I was listening to it not just because I thought this is a great song, is I was hearing what was being said.
Mm,
And I was like, this is what this is what I've been feeling.
right. Like
This
the
is what I've
story of
been.
God's love is probably coming through
Yeah.
that music to you in a way that
Yeah.
you feel it more than just words on a page, right?
Totally.
You feel, I'm getting goosebumps
Yeah.
just
But
thinking
it's
about it. Like
true.
the
It's
spirit of God is, just like we think about how David was somebody that was instrumental and helped bring different music to help in different ways, how music can help people to
hmm,
bring them to a different place than where they are.
totally.
And not just, I'll just transition a little bit, not just for those that don't believe, even those who do believe, right? There's something about, and we'll probably have another episode about what all of worship is.
Hmm.
We're talking about worship. Most people think worship is just music,
Right.
and we'll focus on that a little bit now. But there's something about when you come in and I think music helps you to, because it's a different part of your brain. I'm not going to get into all that,
Yeah.
but I think it's that moment where you're like, I start singing these songs, I start reading the words, and my mind goes to a place where I forget about whatever else is going on.
Mm,
I forget about
yeah.
the argument on the way to church, in the car, or the hard day I had at the office or the week.
Yeah.
It's like for that moment in time, music somehow takes over
Yeah.
in a way that if you let it, right? I mean, you can just go there and sing the words, but if you can give yourself the opportunity to say, I want to worship God, and I can do that through music.
Right. Because I mean, if you think about it, there's probably a lot of people that go to church on Sunday, and if there was no worship, music, I mean, they might just be thinking to themselves, "Well, how do I tell God how I feel right now?"
Right. It's
You
like an
know?
expression. Like I've cried before. I've
Yeah.
rejoiced, right? Just over singing a song, which
Yeah.
I don't always get that in the message. Like God convicts and uses the word. His spirit is moving. But I do think there's that moment of how music can shut off the other things and get you in a posture to focus on God.
Yeah. It's
Right. And
powerful.
it's very powerful. And
Yeah.
I think it also, I I've said this before, just even when I've been speaking, is like to allow the Holy Spirit to move in that moment, to calm our hearts, to focus on God, and then to be ready to receive
Mhm.
whatever the word is on top of that. It's almost
Yeah.
like the worship is like, I don't know, sometimes that's the climactic moment in a way,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, I can lay this down. I can praise God.
Yeah.
I can express my praise to him. Maybe it's raising your hands, maybe it's getting on your face, whatever it is, that it just feels. And I know for some people that doesn't feel normal, but I think even if it's just sitting there and reading the words and hearing people around you singing, that's another thing,
Mm.
right? It's one thing to do it by yourself. Sometimes that's good to hear that. Also, you know, with a group of people. I mean, we feel that like at a concert, right? Like
Yeah.
there's just something different about.
Oh yeah,
going with a
absolutely.
bunch of people.
In fact, you mentioned a concert, and I'm just quickly going to go off on it's not really a tangent, but sort of a tangent. So our friends Ray and Maribel, and then Valerie and I, we've been talking about going to see the group Elevation Worship, and so they're playing a big show at the Greek Theater, and so
Oh,
we're gonna
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we're gonna go see that concert,
When is it?
and
I wanna go. I'm
it's in
gonna crash
July.
your
It's in
concert.
July. No, go please.
We
But it'll be, I mean, for I think for all of us, and I mean, all those three have all been Christians for many, many years.
Mhm.
But for all of us, it's going to be the first time we've going to an event like that, and I'm really, really excited.
I still remember going to Greek theater when I was a young Christian with Stephen Curtis Chapman, and I don't know, he was
I,
opening, the other guy
I
was
would
opening.
help you, but I probably don't
Chris
know. Okay.
Tomlin.
Oh,
Chris
I like
Tomlin
Chris
was
Tomlin.
opening for Stephen Curtis Chapman at the Greek theater. And it was like a worship event, because you know how the
Yeah,
Greek is. It's like this
yeah,
whole bowl. Stephen Curtis Chapman walks off the stage, and people are still singing the rest
yeah,
of the song. And I mean, it was.
yeah. So
I mean, I
I'm
remember it.
excited for
Like
that that
that
feeling.
venue is something that just feels like you're in this different place, and
Yeah,
you're
and you're
outdoors,
outdoors,
and
and the stars are out. And,
yeah, it's an incredible experience. So
yeah,
I know we got off a little bit, but maybe,
right.
that
Well,
that could
but
be a way for
it was a
somebody who's
tangent,
like,
but it's exciting, and I think that event is just going to be like a new
say it
level for
again.
me.
What's the name of it?
Elevation Worship.
Elevation Worship. Oh,
Yeah, it's in July. I forget. I think it's like July
sounds like they're
15th or
our
something.
sponsor, right? Like, we're
Yeah, we're
sponsoring Elevation
tonight we're
Worship in
sponsored by the
July.
Greek Theater.
You better hurry up and get your tickets,
Yeah.
because they're probably going to sell out
Yeah,
quick.
get your
Since
tickets
we've said something,
now.
right now
Yeah.
that we promoted it.
Yeah, all of you
Oh,
get out there and get your tickets for Elevation Worship.
what would be awesome is that somebody listened to this and we met them at Elevation Worship.
We hope this happens.
I do. If it's
No,
one
I do.
person, wouldn't it be
Seriously.
awesome to
Hey,
say,
you guys.
hey, we're looking for you,
Yeah.
and they DM us or something like that, and
We
we get to
found you
meet
in this
our one fan, right?
60,000 people.
Yes, but
That's great.
let's get back to.
We'll get back to it. But
Let's
yeah,
get back to.
but it is related. It's related
Mhm.
because music is super powerful, especially, I mean, for me, music isn't just something that plays. I mean, music is a feeling. Music is something that I've expressed my whole life. And so, and I think even since I've become a Christian, it's even more so because it was a catalyst, and it's like I feel an even closer connection with music now than I ever did. And you asked the question, if somebody was thinking to themselves, how could I worship the Lord, and through music. When I became a Christian, and my mind was saying, what other music is there? Because I know that if there's this, there's got to be this, and I know that I used to listen to this music. Is there something similar to this? And I mean, I went on this crazy search. What music can I listen to that sounds like this? What music can I listen to that sounds like this? And I mean, I just discovered thousands of songs. Seriously. And I mean, my Spotify playlists are just filled with amazing music that I mean, I discover new stuff all the time. And
Right.
I mean, how the internet is now. It's like, oh, we suggest this, and it's great. It's like,
Right.
wow, I don't know if I would have ever known what this is, and the messages are they're fantastic.
We were, and some of it, if you go back, we were this weekend at the retreat I went to. We're singing hymns.
Oh, I guess
Right. So you get these hymns that are like the old rugged cross, and you start looking at the words and reading them and seeing, you know, the redemption of Christ for us and what he's done and the love for us. And it just like goes over and over. And this is like hundreds of years old.
Right.
These are hundreds of years old, these hymns that were written a long time ago. And I think what happens is people see them and they remake them to something that's same words, different melody,
Yeah.
different song, but really the same words,
Yeah.
right? Like a couple
Just
words
to
might be
make it a
changed,
little
but
more
it's still,
modern.
yeah, it's a little bit more modern for this. And people are like, wow, that's incredible. And that's what I'm saying is, if you're reading the lyrics there, you could go back and see that these songs have been sung for hundreds, thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
Like there's this praise to God through music to give him glory, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're meant to give God glory.
Yeah.
And we can do that by lifting our voices. And
Yeah.
I think music is one way that might attract people to, the one thing I was going to say is that read the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
For so long, we were deceived by the lyrics of a good beat,
Yeah.
and we were worshiping the enemy
Yep.
right? Through what we were singing.
Yeah.
And
By
now I would
design.
say do the same thing.
Yeah.
You need to know the lyrics because there can be counterfeits too in
Yeah.
music. That's,
Oh,
oh, this is really good. It's a Christian song. And then you read the lyrics and you're like, no, it doesn't line up with the word of God. So
yeah.
I want to preface there's a lot of really good stuff out there. But again, if it gets us to reading the lyrics, possibly where does this fit in the Bible? Right? We're starting to look at the word, how we can worship God and how we can feel his presence. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things, like feeling the presence of God in worship is something that will drive people to want to know more. Right. And that's,
I
I think, what
agree.
we're going to say.
Yeah. And the more you listen to, you know, Christian music, I mean, that's what it is. And read the lyrics and learn the word, you become more curious about it, and you end up reading more of the Bible because you want to know more about what you were just listening to.
Mhm. Right.
So I mean,
As
it's
catchy as it is, right? It's a catchy in a
hmm
way that gets you to dive in a little bit more.
yeah,
Whereas I think the music of the world
yeah.
is
Well,
there's
it does
repet
that too.
yeah,
I mean, that it creates, the alter ego of, what we're talking about here. And
of self, right?
yeah,
Of
yeah,
self-exaltation or as you mentioned, depression or
yeah,
right? Like there's things that
yeah. And I mean, and that's, sadly what's promoted. I mean, there's a lot of really good music that, I mean, so many of the songs that I'm listening to now, I'm thinking to myself, why am I not hearing this on popular radio? Because it's as good or better than most of the music that's being played. But
there's a reason,
that's
right?
not
The
the message.
industry is
Yeah.
not
It's not the message.
right, exactly. The
Yeah, but
message.
listen to the message,
Yes.
which is a name of a station on XM radio, The Message.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
which is
Christian?
not brought to you by The Message, but it's a great Christian
It is. Okay.
station. Yeah,
Great.
yeah, on Sirius XM radio, The Message. It's a good station.
Okay. We've already given kind of a sponsor plug
Yeah,
for
I told Valerie actually just
Elevation Worship, right?
well,
So
yeah, and the Greek Theater.
and the Greek
Yeah,
theater. Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's funny because we had used Valerie as one of the sponsors,
mhm. Is she
and
okay or do we need to cut it out?
she's okay.
Okay.
She's okay. She's like, "Hey, that was kind of unexpected." And I said, "Well, you're a sponsor."
Right. We do have some other sponsors we can talk
Yeah.
about, but what else do we want to say about music? Anything else closing as we kind of wrap up? We started or we ended last time and we're starting this time with music. Anything that you would maybe we always try to talk about next generation with their music and
Well,
how
the
that
other
might
thing is
be.
that if you are a musician or if you love music, I mean, what a great way to get involved in the church,
Yeah.
in any, you know, aspect. I mean, you play the drums or the guitar, or you play the piano, or you sing, or play the harp, you
Whatever it
play the
is, right? You
triangle.
could. Yeah.
That's a really great way to become a part of the church.
Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
again, we talk a lot about community. You know, that's another way of like, hey, I can be a part of something. I can use some of the gifts that God's given me. I can be a part of a team.
Mm.
I can enjoy something that, I wouldn't be put on this team normally,
Yeah, and
but
you can
I get
spread the word too in a easy way. I mean, if you're a musician, playing music is like second nature.
mhm.
And so we've talked before about ways to get somebody interested in a conversation, and suggesting the podcast is a great way. Music is a great way. I mean, there's and I say easy, I guess that's not the right word, but there's more comfortable ways to start the conversation, and music is one of them.
Yeah, it could be, hey, I'm going to this concert. You want to go?
Yeah.
People are like, what is it? Oh, it's a Christian band. That,
Yeah.
you can even tell them what it is, but
Mm.
some people are like, yeah, I'll go. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the
Again,
Greek.
what's that?
I love the Greek. Sure, I'll go.
Right, exactly. That's starting those spiritual conversations and people might be open to things that again, how are we giving them information? Again, God's doing the work. We always want to focus on I'm just an instrument of what God's going to do. He's going to accomplish his plan with or without me.
Mhm.
But I love when he does accomplish his plan through me because then I get to see his good works and his handiwork and be a part of something that's bigger than myself, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not about me, it's about him,
Yeah.
and see God do amazing things.
Indeed.
So that's going to give us a wrap for today.
Okay.
I think
You're gonna rap?
I'm going to wrap. Oh, wow. He's putting me on the spot. I am not going to rap, but I
Okay.
am going to say we are, again, trying to bring this to you guys. Come follow 33, your faith journey podcast. We want to encourage you to like and subscribe on YouTube. We are now on Spotify. So if you're hearing us on Spotify, uh, share our information. I think that's one of the things we want you to do is
Yeah.
um, you hear about it, you like it, give us some, what do we always say? Some nice comments.
Yeah. Be nice. Leave some comments. You can criticize a little if you want, but be nice.
Yeah. And you
I
never
think there've
know.
been some constructive comments.
We did. We got some comments already back
Yeah.
from one of our listeners that we put into practice. So it's good to do that.
Yeah. Indeed. We're listening,
Yeah,
you know. We're good students as well.
we're trying.
Yeah.
Give us another 10 episodes
Yeah.
and then we're going to try to get better. But of course, again, we want to hear for your feedback. If you want to send us a DM through come follow through 33 on Instagram, you want to give us a comment on YouTube, do that for us. So that way we can know that you're listening. And if you have questions for us, maybe we'll see you at Elevation Worship at the Greek Theater in
That's
July.
right. Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I'm like, I want to go now.
Yeah.
So I'm
Go.
going to
It's
go
going to
and
be
buy
great.
tickets while they still have them and look forward to maybe seeing you out there. If not, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Peter, for sharing your background in worship.
Of
And
course. My pleasure. Thanks, Ted.
we'll see you
Thank you to
guys next
everybody
time.
else too. Thanks to The Rock.
Yes, to the rock. Yes. That's another episode.
Yeah, exactly. Please tell a friend, share this, like, subscribe, share it. Tell everybody that you know, and even some people that you don't know.
There you go.
Just tell them.
All right. God bless you.